We'd like to welcome all of you once again to Saturday's story. Never has our world been so ready and ripe for a people to reach out and to be a blessing to those in need. In this pandemic and this uncertain times that we have faced, we face storms and pandemics and it seems like that so many people are in need. That's why the Apostle Paul made the statement in Hebrews 13 and 16. He said, don't forget to do good and to share with others. He said, for with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. What he's saying here is, if you want a blessing, and I don't know any of us that doesn't want a blessing, but we have to be a blessing to receive a blessing. No one has ever received a blessing without first being a blessing. So the apostle said, don't forget to do good. Don't forget to share with others. Because this sacrifice of blessing someone, it causes God to be well pleased with you. And this, my friend, opens up a panoramic view of God's power, His purpose, His promise, His potential is released when we reach out and become a blessing to someone else. I found that life is more accurately measured by the lives you touch and bless rather than the things that you acquire. Because the things that you acquire in life will surely pass away. You will not have and hold those things for very long. It is a fact that everything you have and hold will pass away, but what you do for others, that's all that's ever going to last. Because if I bless you, you can believe that the God of heaven said, I'm well pleased with that sacrifice. And that brings me today to Saturday's story. It was a stormy night in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The raging winds, the lightning flashed, the thunder rolled. And in the Bellevue Hotel, an elderly couple, drenched by the downpour of the blowing rain, rushed in. They rushed in, and the attendant on duty, they asked, said, sir, do you have a room? We're trying to get away from this storm, and we need a place for the night. And the kind attendant, he smiled and had such a loving smile. He said, I'm so sorry, but do you understand that there's 2 conferences in town? And there's not a hotel room anywhere in Philadelphia. And they looked at each other, and all of a sudden, the lightning flashed and thunder rolled, and the elder lady cringed, thinking of having to go out in that storm. But the kind attendant said, but I can't send an elderly couple like you out in the storm. I have a room that you could stay the night in that room. And they looked at each other and said, no, young man, what would you do? How will you rest? He said, I'm young. There's a couch in the office, and I can lay down and take a nap through the nights. Don't worry about me. I'm young and resilient. And so the elderly couple looked. He said, look, it's not a suite, but you can certainly rest comfortable for the night. And they looked outside at the raging storm and said, okay, young man. And so the next morning, the kind gentleman walked to the front desk and to settle the bill and offered the young man more money. But he said, no, I don't want any more money. I want to be a blessing. I just want to be a blessing. And the elderly man said, son, me and my wife were talking. There's very few people like you in this world. And you deserve to manage the largest hotel in the world. And I just might build it for you. Well, of course, the young man was thinking, well, he's just giving accolades because I gave him a room, and so he just dismissed it. But what he didn't know was he was talking to William Waldorf Astor. And 2 years later, he received a letter in the mail, a letter that had tickets already paid for a round trip to New York City. And when he arrived in New York City, Mr. Astor picked him up and took him to 5th Avenue and 34th Street. And he said, young man, what do you see? He said, oh my, it was the largest, most beautiful hotel he had ever seen. It was ready stone with turrets and watchtowers thrusting up to the sky. He said, oh, wow. He said, well, son, that's your hotel. He said, what? You're the manager of that hotel. It was the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. And for 23 years, this young man was the manager of that hotel because of just one act of kindness. Forget not. Don't forget to do good to others and to share with others. For with this sacrifice, there's a door with a panoramic view of so much potential that's just waiting for someone who will be a blessing to someone else. Don't forget to do that, because if you will, I promise you that God is going to elevate you. This young man's name was George Holtz, and George Holtz for 23 years, just by one act of kindness, received a blessing. He was the manager of the largest hotel in America, just like William Waldorf Astor said he deserved. I wish today that someone would hear this message. If you know of someone in need, don't close the bowels of your compassion. For James said, he that knoweth to do good and doeth it not is not just a trivial thing. He said, it is a sin. So let us rise up now and do good and share with others. For with this sacrifice, God is well pleased. If you today have enjoyed this, please share this with someone and make up your mind that I am going to be a recipient of the blessings of God. And the way that happens is I will do good to others and share, and God will absolutely bless me. God bless you today is our prayer.